Hello again, been a while, few days. This is Matt, this is Whatcast. I thought I'd come on and continue. I wanted to watch it. I thought, should I just carry on watching that debate with Jeranism versus Witsit about flat Earth? Shall I just watch it? And then I thought, no, I'll go on and record and react and continue to watch it that way. So let's get straight on with it then. For those of you that need a catch up here, these two were both flat earthers. And then someone paid for them to go to Antarctica, and this guy decided to tell the truth, change his mind of all of his world beliefs, which made him very unpopular with this guy and all of the rest of the cult members. This guy also changed his mind, by the way, but won't admit it because he still thinks there's money to be made in flat Earth. He's wrong, by the way. Flat Earth is dead in the water. Unless you go on TikTok and then there's more morons on there than you can shake a stick at. But that's just TikTok. On YouTube, it is definitely dead. This video guaranteed won't get more than 500 views. Hardly any flat earthers have got any courage to even disagree in the comments anymore. Like the old days, you could always count on the engagement on flat earth videos in the old days. I say the old days, a year or so ago. Of people arguing amongst themselves in the comment section, or people challenging me to this. Oh, you would get destroyed. Let me come on. Yeah, right then. No, actually, I don't want to do it. But now you don't even get that. You just get some people that think flat earthers are dickheads saying so, and that'll be the end of it. There's no engagement there. Witsit's barking up the wrong fucking tree, thinking that there's a cash cow there still. There absolutely isn't, so he may as well just move on and admit that the earth isn't flat and that he was wrong. This guy's religious, so he's never going to change. He thinks that he's got a direct line to God and that God's told him the earth's flat, so the evidence is irrelevant. But let's move on.
Word refraction doesn't work, right?
You're just saying the word falsified when you haven't taken into the account what their explanation is.
That's the point. We did take it into account, and we actually have to ask them to even specify it. And we actually get into the quote-unquote expert that they cite. He actually uses planar geometry, and then he doesn't actually apply Snell's law. It's a singular medium differential. And then people on the internet totally exclude that part, and they just act like, oh, we know this works because it's refraction, and they claim it's looming when looming is in relation to the actual horizon. So and it's a category error, and they just reify the R value, right? And then they just expand it.
I just think that when you're talking about that particular issue, it's funny that Bo says he went out there and that was one observation of 6 months. So what Flat Earth seems to have done is gone out and waited until there was enough refraction that the back water was way up higher and it looks like the horizon is super far away. And so then we took that observation and said we'd refuted the globe.
Yeah, they're talking about the black swan. Anybody that knows this topic, the oil rigs, the globe killer. That Witsit still thinks is great evidence, but the 24-hour sun in Antarctica somehow isn't. Somehow the 24-hour sun in Antarctica doesn't really prove anything. It's just lights in the sky. But one observation that they had to wait weeks to make of 2 oil rigs years ago is enough for Witsit.
Which is insane, because you just got done saying that we don't take one observation and we don't say from that we destroyed something. We don't take the one observation of the sun and say that we proved the globe. But you will take the one observation of the 1 out of 180 days of a higher horizon and then say that falsifies the globe.
This is super important that you're not understanding the difference here. The globe model makes a very specific claim that, if the Earth, this is what the black swan is, if the Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3,959 miles, then the horizon is a physical geometric edge. Physical obstruction, physical geometric horizon is at 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That is the globe's claim. They made a positive, definitive, specific claim. It's a very specific, it's a mathematical claim about a very real physical thing.
And the specific claim of the flat Earth is that there cannot be a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Not in the sky. Maybe sunlight with your ridiculous coffee cup caustic that you pretended happens with your soppy dome and your stupid fucking flashlight that has to be outside the dome for that to work. But you'll still put the sun inside the dome for everything else.
Physical location. Don't ever work that way.
This is the point. The globe makes that very specific claim. You're over here, then you say, well, flat Earth can't be true because if we assume that the sun's in an actual position and then I tell you what the map should be, then the sun shouldn't do this. That's not the same thing at all.
Yes, it is. It's exactly the same thing. You just hope it isn't and hope that your idiot fucking followers just believe you.
There's a geometric refutation on the table because of a positive claim. It's physical, and refraction doesn't work for the black swan, by the way. But you're saying the word. I explained why, because you actually have to assume the R value, and then it's a category error. You just extend it out infinitely because they say that it's looming. Looming is an effect.
Oh, so larger globe then? That's the only claim you can possibly make from your ridiculous black swan, that the globe is bigger than we say. Still a fucking globe, because it has to be a globe because there's a sharp horizon.
In relation to the horizon.
No, but you're just using words. Well, is refraction real?
Did you just hit me with the I'm just using words, bro?
Oh, you just use words. A bunch of words that don't.
Was that word salad?
I didn't want
No, you are just using words. Yes, it is a word salad. You're trying to pretend, yeah, you've been indoctrinated. You're just a sheep like everybody else, whilst sitting there just pretending to be Nathan Oakley, whilst pretending he doesn't like him.
Say what's out. I didn't bring the little Hidden Valley Ranch.
On, man.
With your face on. No, I mean.
All right, guys. All right, we've spent a lot of time on this one.
Hey, go
we
ahead.
got quite a few questions here. The audience are thoroughly enjoying this. The questions are really rolling in here. This one is for Austin. Austin, what is NavCell and how does it apply?
Wow. So like dyslexic question. Cell nav.
NAVCELL, NavCell.
Okay, well, I'm saying like cell nav, like celestial navigation, right? So this is like a super important part, right? When we're talking about how I was explaining how that they always say 1 degree for 69 miles, act like it's proof the Earth's a globe. We can go out there, we know how to navigate perfectly because we can just assume we know the Earth's a globe, so it's curving at a certain rate. So as I go across the surface, I'm tipping at a specific angle at a certain rate. So the stars are going to change based on that angle. 1 mile or 1 degree for 69 miles. That actually isn't true. It doesn't work like that. It regularly
Oh, yes, it does.
No, you can fuck off.
needs corrections.
Even
And
Nathan
you can't
agrees with
utilize
me.
the angles like all the way up to like roughly like 15 degrees and then around even the 9 degrees. What? There should be no refraction looking straight up, right? But if there's actually curved visual space, we expect that. So then how do they correct it, right? So so if you say like, do they just use like an apparent raw angle or the celestial refraction corrected angle? And they're using the corrected angle, right? You're claiming that's refraction. That's somehow what's going to fix it. So then is it a solution? Do we actually use certain variables for a refraction equation? That's how we fix it? No, they actually use like empirically derived solution, meaning like the answer is empirically derived. They actually use different formulas for every like angle band, right? Like every segment of the angles. So the input is just height and or angles. There's no temperature, there's no pressure at all in those corrections. So it proves it has nothing to do with refraction. It's actually an empirical physical correction, right? Normal refraction has temperature and pressure. Celestial refraction does not. So that's a big problem, right? I mean, how does that work? And the way the answer is the way that it works. It's just because it needs to work. It just has to work. So that's what's so frustrating about
Did
it.
he
Is
say
that it's brought up
anything?
as if direct evidence for the globe. That's like so dumb. It's terrible for the globe. Doesn't work at all.
That makes about as much sense as...
Gas go down, go boom, boom, my friend.
They claim refraction, but don't actually use refraction equations or variables. They don't even use like temperature and pressure. They're not even claiming like actual refraction, right? They're using empirically derived angle measurement corrections.
Jeran fell asleep as well. I think he might have done.
And they're using planar geometry to do that. So, celestial navigation is not good for the globe at all.
Oh, really? Maybe you'll take up MC Toon's challenge then about it.
Thank you, Austin. Jeran, did you want to address this one?
Yeah, I just he keeps saying that the 69 miles per degree doesn't work, but if that's the case, then we wouldn't have your latitude lines, which are all over the Earth. Wherever you live right now, you have a latitude. The reason you have that latitude is it's the angle from where you're at to the pole star. So clearly, everywhere is mapped, everywhere is correct, and if we take the distances between those lines, we will figure out that it's 69 miles for every single degree, and if you times that by 360, you get 24.901. So I don't know where you would ever start thinking that, oh no, it doesn't. They don't actually use it because of refraction, and when it gets close, we're not talking about that. Everybody's latitude is known, and it's their angle to the pole star. That's how we map the Earth. So again, for it not to work would be that you have people where they're not actually at. But we know that anybody who's at 37 degrees, go out tonight and measure the angle to Polaris. It will be 37 degrees. That's what it will be. And the other thing is, are you trying to use the Nathan Oakley line that we can't measure angles from a curved baseline? Is that what you kind of are saying something close to that? But I can't tell if it's what you're trying to say is the same thing. When you're saying that we, okay.
No.
But the actual extension of the baseline is a problem for the globe.
So you are then. So yes is the answer.
The actual accurate extension of it.
Yeah, because I don't think that's what they're actually taking it for, right? Because like if I were to ask you, if I went outside my house, if the Earth was a sphere or if it was flat, would I have the same outside my house? Be identical, right? There'd be no way.
Real quick, I'm sorry to interrupt, guys, but it looks like it shows that the webinar is about to end in 4 minutes. Is there a way that we can extend it, or will it automatically turn off?
I don't think it should automatically turn off, but I'm going to try to check it. Yikes. If anyone else is in here and can help at the same time, that'd be great. I'm going to go try to change it.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, the pressure's on. We technically could start another one, but that would be really lame.
Can I pee?
4 hours, save.
I'm gonna go.
Did it change? Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay. All right.
So, but if we went outside
We've
my
got
house,
another minute on this, and we'll move on.
So if I went outside my house, though, Austin, the Earth would not. I mean, the observations would not change if the Earth was flat or a sphere, correct? Of the size that they say.
Wait, what did you say?
So in my front yard, if the Earth was a sphere or if it was flat, would that change my front yard? If the Earth was okay, so then we can take angles to stars from quote unquote curved baselines because it wouldn't make a difference one way or the other. You're using the latitude. You're using the tangent, which is technically the flat Earth.
Exactly. They pretend that it's the constant curve that everybody should be able to see. No matter, like from this, like the wall is literally 3 feet that way. I should be able to see the curvature into that wall. They genuinely believe that people think that.
Oh, technically, like if you want to ask technically, like on the smallest, most imaginable scale ever, our front yards would be different technically, but practically,
we're taking an angle to Polaris.
Technically, but like practically, no. But the issue is that we utilize an extension of a horizontal baseline. And again, when we actually take these angles and they don't match, we have to make corrections. And what does the globe claim? The globe claims refraction, but do they actually account with refraction formulas? No, they don't take temperature and pressure and make the corrections. They actually take.
It's not what he asked, but you know that. But just go off on the script anyway, because then your stupid fucking followers will go, yeah, he destroyed him with that one.
Strictly height, strictly angles, and planar geometry to make the corrections. So to actually make it work, you have to make the Earth flat on top of acting like it's flat, on top of measuring like it's flat, and then you claim that's the proof it's a globe.
Well, that's what you would do if the globe was the size that they say. You wouldn't start treating it like a sphere when we don't even notice that. You would treat it like it's flat with a tangent. But I just have one question. You said again that if they have to make adjustments, nobody's making adjustments to their latitude, right? I mean, if I'm 37 degrees because that's my angle to the pole star, there's no adjustment to that. Nobody's adjusting that. If anybody gets, at least, I mean, I would like to hear somebody tell me that there's a location on the Earth that's off by more than 1 degree. I don't think that's even possible. Like you're telling me that there's somebody at 47 degrees that measures the angle to the Polaris and it's 53 degrees? No.
No.
Well,
no.
So
what I'm
saying, there is no refraction getting in the way of our latitude, and our latitude lines are a certain distance away from each other. And if you measure those out, they equal to the 24,901. So I get that you're saying, oh, that's just some arbitrary math. Well, no, it's not, because we have the Earth mapped. So
okay, but longitude and latitude is how is that accomplished? It was reverse engineered from observations of the sky, right? And then they actually apply correction. They apply correction angles over long distances. Didn't actually go physically measure anything. They do calculative corrections over long distances, right? That's what they do. This is where we go all the way back to what we're talking.
Why didn't you do something then, Witsit? Why didn't you measure the longitude and latitude lines whilst you was down there in Antarctica and actually make yourself useful and disprove shit? You didn't. Will and MC Toon and stuff did, and it matches the globe completely.
About earlier, which is like, well, how are we actually seeing? Because you're presupposing we're seeing in perfectly straight lines infinitely, and that the only reason the stars are changing
Presupposing, and then they did it, and it was accurate.
is because I'm tipping over on a ball, and we actually don't see that. So if I say the Earth's a plane and we don't see in perfectly straight
Why didn't you measure the latitude lines?
geometry, it's curved visual space. You say no, actually we see in perfect straight lines infinitely far.
Because you didn't do anything at all. Because you knew if you did, it would just make your position even worse. That's why you was heading to geocentrism before you even went, because you knew what you were going to say. And you needed a way to continue to make money.
And there's nothing between us and the stars is how we can see it, and they're crazy far away. Like, okay, let's go test it out. Which one matches reality? It's actually the first one, because when we start to get to like 15 or even more degrees close to the horizon, it all begins to get
Oh, the stars again. Lights in the sky prove the shape of the Earth again.
Sounds like cognitive dissonance to me, mate.
logarithmic and compressed in, as if it was converging in curved visual space. It would not do that. And it's not just refraction, because again, it also that you're not allowed to use up close to 90. That's where the refraction was supposed to be the least when you're looking straight up, right? That's what they say. They say you look straight up, there should be basically no refraction. Yeah, they cannot use close to 90 because, well, if it's curved visual space on both close to 90 and the edge, you expect there to be an actual logarithmic change. It wouldn't be a 1-to-1 linear ratio, and that's what we see in reality. And conveniently, they'll never tell you that. We have to go look at the actual manuals and find out. Wait a minute, why did they tell me I can't use this? I thought it was super easy, 1 degree per 69 miles. It's not. This makes perfect sense. It's exactly what we expect if visual space is curved. So now we expect it off. It's real simple, like caveman math. Let's use straight lines. But that's what they say.
Gentlemen, we need to move on to another question real quick. Casey's asking, I hear ball earthers routinely invoke the argument that flat earthers don't have a map. However, it would seem to require a king's commission for such an undertaking. What kind of assets and costs do you both believe are associated with the creation of map making?
Well, they're all what this is a ridiculous point that he's just made there. It costs so much money to make a map. That's why we ain't got one. Oh, hang on. I thought you was the people that had everything figured out in the world. I thought you was the ones that knew that they were lying to us about everything. You're the real smart people. Everyone else just parrots whatever they hear. Scientists and physicists just sit in a room all day and regurgitate what they read in a book. They don't have any, they're not free thinkers like you. They're not the real smart people like you. So why don't you real smart people all get together, as you're obviously the real smart people in the world, get together, put all of your brain matter together and come up with a map that actually works, because you are the really smart ones that have it all figured out and everyone else just regurgitates stuff they learnt at the indoctrination school system, right? Why can't you do that? Especially with this brain surgeon Witsit leading the way.
You first.
We've already done it. You can make observations of the sun. We know where the tropics are. We know where the equator is. Once you have that, you verify the continent shape, which we've pretty much already done, and the layout, which is pretty much already done. So there is, the reason that they say there's no map is there's no map that matches real world observations. You can draw a flat Earth map and be happy with it if you want. The A map works for just drawing it. And it actually, if you look at Dave's app, it actually kind of shows where the sun would be above for the most part, as long as you don't go too far south. But regardless of that, it might be a king's undertaking, but it would be fruitless because we've already mapped the Earth. And so you're not going to come out with anything. If it's flat, then you would come out with the AE map. I mean, there's no other way. It doesn't matter what you map out. You're not going to get continents into Africa's not going to be on the other side of South America. It doesn't work. It doesn't happen because the sun goes in an order that we know. So therefore, we know the layout of the Earth, and it has been tried on different shapes, and it only works on one. And that's will forever be that way. I've now realized that there'll never be a way that you can match observations of the what we see with a flat world, because the Earth's not flat. So it's unfortunate, by the way.
Simple as that.
Austin, would you like to address this one? What kind of assets and costs do you believe are associated with the creation of map making?
That's something insane that's impossible to even fathom for one like free exploration.
Yeah, we just can't afford it. We just can't afford it. That's why we don't do it. You know the size of the continents. You know where everything is. The world has been travelled numerous times and measured numerous times. So take those measurements. Are you really going to suggest that you yourself need to go and measure the entire world if you need to make a map? You're just not going to believe anything that anyone says. Why don't you just test your own country and drive from coast to coast in America, up and down, east to west, north to south, and measure that first? If that's accurate, you can then probably assume that so's everywhere else. Or go fucking travel and measure that as well. Then make a map. All right.
And then, of course, in today's day and age, probably lots of money as well. But it's much more about the resources, the amount of people, and the amount of time that it would actually take to do it. It's not particularly realistic. Like, yeah, sure, we have some maps, but they're just maps. This is actually the problem is people, Jeran, really, you think that there has to be an accurate map of reality.
Yes. You think, what a statement. You think there has to be an accurate map of reality. Yeah.
And there will never be one. There will never be one. There's not even
There is one.
one of the globe. You think the globe is accurate, but you're correct. The globe is made from a coordinate system. The globe is made from a coordinate system. That's all that it is. You presuppose the actual sphere. Then you're going to look at the sky. You're going to reverse engineer the coordinate system.
And then you go measure it all and it completely works. Stop talking bollocks.
You're going to make the map based on that coordinate system. That's why you can always have distortion. It's just a projection. And you can move the center around and it changes. Am I
Have you seen
lagging?
the globe?
Where's the distortion in an actual globe map? On a globe with its distortion. Distortion on the Mercator map, distortion on the ridiculous AE map.
Globe has you just said that the globe is a projection, or is the globe an actual model of the Earth?
The map's a projection. All the maps are projections.
Yeah, the flat maps.
I'm not talking about a map. I'm talking about the globe Earth, the globe model with the 3D globe with some people on this side, some people on this side, some people upside down from the other people. That map, that globe model.
What about it?
Well, because it's
It's made from a coordinate system.
Yeah, don't try and pretend you don't understand the question. You completely understand what he's asking you.
Yeah, that's how you would make it. That's how would you
Do you
make
not get
the
the point, though? It's not about how you would make anything. It's like we just make the coordinate system using the sky, reverse engineer it, and then we make the maps based on that.
Reverse engineer it. So reverse engineer it back to how it was then, and then make your map.
So, okay, so you have to presuppose it again. You have to reify and affirm.
Sure, but that's what you do. If you're going to
Fuck off with that bullshit. It fucking works. Make something that works. Presuppose flat and make it work.
test things, you presuppose something and then see if it matches observations. So if we presuppose a flat Earth, we notice that it doesn't match observations. If you presuppose a globe, it does. That's the difference.
Well, first of all, coordinate systems are not the same as like physical datum, like physical measurements. And we actually take physical measurements, take actual datum, they're horizontal consistently. This is what we keep on talking
Oh, and you think that they're all wrong, do you? So how do we get around then?
about. We take the coordinate system, we presuppose the globe, we make a coordinate system, reverse engineer it, then we're going to make projections and maps. That's why
Yeah, you've just said all of that, and it was bollocks the first time. But repeat it anyway, because your followers will eat it up.
maps are so blown out of proportion in this discussion, they're useless. It doesn't matter. When it comes to the truth of the matter, it doesn't matter at all. Literally.
The map is flat, and a flat map can never match the real world. That's why.
Just in general, the maps are just projections. There's merely
The projections that completely fucking work on a sphere that do not work at all on anything flat. And you fucking know it. That's why you're pretending that they don't.
conceptual that can change around. This is the important part. This is the important part.
Hold on, if the Earth was flat, wouldn't we be able to map it? Easily.
No, the problem is, again,
No! If the Earth was flat, wouldn't be able to map it. Nah. You know why? Because it fucking ain't!
the way that could we in theory, sure, maybe, but the actual problem is the way that we did it, which is we took a coordinate system. We created a coordinate system. So they presuppose the globe, they reify it, and then take coordinate systems based on that, and then they make a map, and then they create that projection, and we can move it around however we want to. But they don't take, again, this is the difference. Calculative assumption that creates the coordinate system, or physically, empirically measured datum on the surface, which always matches flat. This goes back to what we were talking about, where, okay, well, we can find out the truth of the matter. Let's go look and see what happens when we move along the Earth. When we move along the Earth, we cannot assume it's a globe. It doesn't work. We have to make corrections. Oh, it's refraction. Okay, then let's go. What do we have to correct for? Pressure and temperature and optical variables in the sky, right?
He's talking about a map. Land masses measured.
No, that's not how we make the corrections. We make physical measurements, empirically derived corrections with just angles and height, and we have to fix and cook the books because the globe doesn't match. So that proves that the actual coordinate system isn't correct. So how do we get the coordinate system? Because however we got it isn't correct. The presupposition was that it's a globe. Then we made a special coordinate system. Then we made a map. Then we
Get a globe, an accurate globe that doesn't say, do not use this, this is just a toy or whatever they say on the bottom of them. Get one that doesn't say that on the bottom, and then disprove it anywhere. Go measure reality versus what it tells you and disprove it and show your evidence.
flatten that globe out, and people say, look, this flattened globe out is distorted. It's like, yeah, of course it is.
Austin,
Because you flattened a globe.
gotta jump in real quick.
Okay.
You're definitely on a roll, so I'm gonna stop real quick. We got a few
You're on a roll. You think that meant anything he just said there?
more questions
No, you don't think that. You're just desperately trying to make him win because you're also a flat earther.
we need to get to. This one is from
Witsit ego's got in the way and he's left himself on the screen no matter who's talking there.
is asking for Jeran. Do you now
Where's Jeran?
believe that the weak force of gravity holds all southern oceans onto the bottom of the
Oh
sphere?
my
And if you do
God.
believe that, what type of gravity? Is it Einsteinian? Is it Newtonian?
The Anthony Newtonian. Both.
Yeah, I think
gravity holds the atmosphere. Is it from being equilibrium with the vacuum of space?
I don't know. What seems to make this the most sense, because I think that the Earth proves itself to be a sphere. So therefore, the idea that the center of the Earth has some sort of attractive force seems to make sense, because that's what we experience. So there is no water being held to the bottom of the globe. That would require the pressure to be going the other direction. The water is being held to the globe like the water in the north is, like the water everywhere is. It's all the same. There's no difference. There's nobody who's upside down. To be upside down, you have to have your head where your feet should be. But on the Earth, your feet should be at the ground towards the center of the Earth. That's where you are. That's where everybody is. So there's nobody upside down. Now you could say, well, what about the guy way up there in the north versus the guy down there in the south, Jeran? Are they upside down compared to each other? That's a different story. That would be a yes. But they're not upside down themselves. So to make questions about how do we hold water, how do we hold boats, how do we hold ships is
so ridiculous. I always explain this to people this way, and they still don't understand it. If you take a football, a soccer ball, whatever you want to call it, right, a round ball, and you had the ability to kick it so fucking hard that takes it into space. You then kick a person that hard and take them into space to be right next to that ball with no reference frame anywhere around them, and then get them to point to the top of that ball and the bottom where everyone's upside down. You wouldn't know what the top or the bottom was because there's no reference frame, because the Earth doesn't have a table underneath it that everything falls off of the Earth onto. I don't know why they don't understand this.
It's basically admitting that you don't have a full grasp of what they mean by gravity and how it works.
Okay, thank you, Jeran. Austin, would you like to address this one?
Sorry, I was changing it over. Can you just remind me what it was?
Yeah, it's
gravity.
Do we now believe the weak force of gravity holds all the southern oceans on the bottom of the sphere?
Yeah.
And if it is gravity, what type? Einsteinian or Newtonian?
Sorry, I was so gay I forgot it. Obviously, I don't believe in any of that nonsense. I don't believe in gravity's terribly debunked and impossible and everything.
Yeah, debunked. Even though the whole of science is in unanimous agreement with it. It's been debunked because he says it is electrostatics. He believes in.
It's intrinsically electric, and I guess this is kind of the point I was trying to make to Jeran and more of a meta, right?
It's really funny when Witsit fans try to explain his explanation of electrostatics. They ain't got a clue what he's talking about. They say it all wrong. They don't even say it the way he says it, but it's still good enough for them. That's what's so weird.
Right, which is like you're honing in on something that you're like, okay, I can't explain this in the flat, so it can't be flat. But it's like, okay, so what about all these other things that we know you're not going to be able to explain on the globe, because you actually require gravity as the prerequisite to ever even claim it's a globe. And inclusion directly to the question, no, I absolutely do not believe in that, because gravity's been debunked 1,000 times over, and simply
it's been debunked 1,000 times over. That's why it's a law.
Because they need the globe, they need the heliocentric model, they need the Copernican principle. They had to come up with some crazy nonsense where time and distances magically contract and slow down to match whatever they need for the Earth.
You think it could be something else though? Like
the sun is magically held in the sky for no fucking reason on your stupid dome model.
There's a guy, I was just reading his theory the other day. I know it sounds crazy. It's called the trillion years theory, but it's the theory that there's a black hole at the middle of every sphere, that the black hole at the middle of the sun, black hole at the middle of the Earth, and that's what's attracting things to it. So it's not gravity per se. So I mean, that's where I kind of am saying that the Earth will always be a sphere. Just like all your friends that are geocentrists, Robert Sungenis, Robert Bennett, all these PhD guys, they all believe the Earth is a sphere. Everybody, Tycho Brahe, Copernicus, you name them, they all believe the Earth is a sphere. And there's a reason for that, because the Earth is a sphere.
Well, you boldly appeal to majority.
No, it's not appeal to majority. So you're saying that we have today a flat Earth theory that has no map, no model, no explanations, you can't even tell me what the Earth looks like. You can't even say, oh, it looks like this, because
you did. You appealed to majority, now you're shifting the burden. I don't want to be.
Oh, shift the burden of proof. The burden of proof is surely yours, because you went to Antarctica and saw the 24-hour sun, but you don't care. You don't care. The burden of proof is still the other way around, even though that completely perfectly works on the globe and does not work at all on anything flat. But the burden of proof is still for the other side.
Super cutthroat and just hit you with what your fallacies you're using, but you're using lots of fallacies.
Fallacy.
But like to answer in good faith, like it's like, who cares?
You haven't answered a single thing in good faith, so bollocks to you.
Actually, I talked to Dr. Bennett, and he said that he sits in the rooms and he's like, wow, I don't know how to answer these reputations of the globe. He hasn't focused on that. He didn't say like he's for sure that the Earth's a globe, it has to be a globe, But I want to ask the question everyone here wants to know from you, right? Like, do you think the Earth is moving?
It seems to make sense that's where you would get easier observations. Otherwise, if you're geocentrist, then you have to move everything around the Earth at crazy speeds, faster than the speed of light. It seems kind of funny.
Dude, so do you not see why people are like, what is going on right now? Like
15 degrees per hour. Thanks, Bob.
Like that what? That the evidence has shown that the Earth is not moving. We will have another debate.
Real quick, let me jump in with this next question, which is exactly what you're talking about, okay? Roger's asking, why are the measurements of the ether ignored? The MMX, the Dayton Miller, Bob, and many others.
What measurements of the ether? Are we going to pretend the Michelson-Morley measured the ether now, even though you just got to Google search it to say that it didn't?
Along with Airy's failure, which shows the Earth is not in motion.
Okay,
Jeran, would you like to go first?
I mean, to me, it shows that the Earth is not in motion through any kind of an ether that they tried to test, at least the way they tested it. So again, to those things, that seems to me to be such a high level physics thing that's out of my wheelhouse. And it used to be important to me because I thought we were lied to about the shape of the Earth or where we lived. And I no longer think that's the case. Now I think they could be wrong. Obviously, I think they're wrong about dark matter, dark energy. Even there could be gravity issues. There could be maybe we haven't gone to the moon. Maybe we can't get out of low Earth orbit. There's a lot of other things, but I'm not making those claims today. My claim is that the evidence shows us where we live. And I think that in order to believe that you live on a flat earth, you have to then believe in a deceptive God. You have to believe that a God made the earth answerable with one word, sphere, but it's really not. It's actually flat, and it's actually this. And well, no, why would God make it so that it's answerable by saying flat? Why would it be so easy to say, hey, how come it's an upside down sun and moon? Oh, you're upside down and you're on a ball. Oh, why is there backwards moving? Because you're on a ball. Oh, well, why is there a south celestial pole? Oh, because you're on a ball. Oh, so all the answers of you're on a ball suffice. Yet we're supposed to believe that that's not the truth. The truth is really that God made a flat earth, but just happened to make the mistake of making it also answerable by being on a sphere. Now, the difference is we can map the earth, we have it mapped on a sphere, and it matches every single observation. Every one. And on
well played. He is desperately trying to take it to all of these other topics, and credit to Jeran there to say, I don't know nothing about any of that shit. We're talking about the shape. The shape is this. Undeniably so. Or your wonderful God is trying to lie to you. It's trying to make you think that it's a globe when it clearly isn't, right?
a flat earth, it matches none. That's the difference. So you can keep believing in a flat earth if you want, but it's not going to come along. You're not going to, down the road, figure out that there's some answer, because look how long it's been. There's been no answer. There's a reason why Lady Blount in 1895 was saying, well, there's a southern sun, but we can't explain it. Well, now we're 150 years past that, and there hasn't even been an attempt, because people have realized what I realized. Oh, any flat map will be the AE map, and the AE map doesn't match reality. Therefore, I hate to tell you, the earth cannot be flat. It's time to just grow up and say, okay, let's move on to actual real conspiracies, and let's stop teaching kids lies. I did it for 10 years. It makes me sick that I thought so completely about the South being a lie that I based my entire idea of the earth on that on that point. And when I went and found out that that's not the case, now everything else is a mess. So I see what Austin's saying, where you're like, what's going on? Now you believe that we're spinning. Now you believe. No, it's not a matter of that. It's the earth is a ball. It shape is a sphere. And that can be realized by yourself. You can go out tonight or sunset, watch the sunset, call a friend in the south, have them watch the sunset go the other direction, and you know you're on a sphere, because there's no flat map that will ever account for that. But the sphere model is exactly that. How would the earth be modeled?
Thank you, Jeran, for your answer. Thank you. Austin.
I can't listen to his answer to that. Not this time. Maybe if I do a part 4. What do you think? Do I do a part 4? I just can't listen to him talk around that and go back to everything that he's already said 52 times. It's so boring. And it's not addressing the obvious problem with his argument. Cheers for watching. Please subscribe and all that. I never ask people to do any of this stuff, and I always forget. Please subscribe and everything else. Comment, share, all that bollocks. See you next time. Adios.